going, everybody? Bobby Hilton here from the Boom and Freezer Show. We got Scott Frost and Bobby, along with a special guest, none other than the world famous top professional pool player, Jayson Shaw. How's it going, Jason?
I'm good, Bobby. How are you and Scott doing?
Doing good, doing good. Uh,
Yeah, everything good on my end as well. Thanks, Jason, for joining the podcast. We're excited to have you. Um, Looking forward to the conversation.
Everybody who watches podcast is going to know Jayson Shaw, but I just got a couple of accolades that I want to throw Jason's way. And for you guys, give you guys a little information if you don't know all about Jayson Shaw. But he's been playing pool a real long time. And let me get this right, Jason. Was your first win in the WPA World Black Ball 2010?
Yes.
That was your first big one, right?
Yeah, that was, I'd won a few pro events before that, in English 8 ball, bigger events. But that was obviously the big one. I always wanted to win that. I won World Junior Championship, Youth, Under 21. I did it all the way from the bottom. And then when I finally won that, Darren kind of started playing 9 ball a little bit. So that's what kind of made me switch.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you actually started with 8 ball, right? English 8 ball, correct?
Yeah, I was played that game since I was around like 4 years old. My dad used to be a professional, so that's how I kind of got into it. And yeah, like I said, around 2011, that's when I kind of made the change a little bit.
I'm going to read a couple more of your accolades here. Going to need a minute, but 2013 Empire State 10 ball champion, 2014 Turning Stone, 2014 Open State 9 ball championship, Turning Stone 2015 two times back to back, 2016 Derby City Bigfoot 10 ball challenge champion, Derby City 9 ball, Steinway Classic 10 ball, Great Dismissal Swamp 9 ball, Kuwait Open 9 ball championship, International Challenge of Champions. Of course, 2016 was your Moscone Cup champion, Billiard Digest Player of the Year 2016. And I can go on and on, but I'm going to give you guys just the last couple of the big ones because if not, we'll be here all day. Uh, but of course, he has a world record 14-1 record, 832 balls in a row, 2014 Moscone Cup MVP, Moscone Cup champion 2024. Super Billiard Expo 2024, Moscone 2023, and of course, Hanoi Open 2023. And that's just to say it through. That's a pretty good career already, Jason. You're still not an older guy. You're still a young player. But what
Yeah,
do you got to say?
Jason's career is more like my weekly tournament record. It's pretty
Yeah,
solid there.
it's pretty wild to think that I came over here in 2013. I'd come a few times before that to play the US Open as we had qualifiers in Scotland. And I think the first time I qualified for the US Open was in 2006. And that year I also qualified for the IPT. I obviously know what the IPT was, Scott, back in the day.
Yes, sir.
So that's how I kind of really got into playing more American pool. I played in the IPT around 2006, and I was only 16 at the time. And I went to London to play in a tournament, and I ended up qualifying. And some big guy came up to me all dressed up in a suit, and he was like, "Hey, man!" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna get done. Somebody's gonna kill me." And the guy was like, "You play amazing. I'd like to bring you back to playing this tournament." Obviously, at that time, I was just happy to be playing in anything. But yeah, I got a big opportunity then, and once I'd went to playing the IPT, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And then, like I said, I seen Darren coming over in 2009, 10, and started doing really well. So I thought, I'll give it a go and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, I can always go back to English 8 ball. But my work ethic and I think the grit and determination, and I know how much talent I have. I just decided to make the move. And sometimes a lot of people are scared to take chances, and I feel in life if you don't take chances, you'll never know. So I'm all about taking chances, and I feel like I took a chance on myself, bet on myself, and just worked hard, and here we are today.
Yeah, and I'm going to interrupt there. And Bobby and I both know this. We just kind of run with it in this podcast. We don't really have a big structure, but you just mentioned work ethic. You and I know each other very well. We go way, way back since you first started coming to the States. A lot of people probably don't realize how hard you work and how much you play. Um, this is like a daily thing for Jayson. I'll just say he's more than obsessive, right? And I think that's what it takes in order to be the best of the best or have um, a record like Jayson has. I can't put into words how much this guy works on his physical health, on his mental health, on his physical game, and everything that he does in between. He's constantly trying to evolve himself and his pool game, which I know of for a fact, and I wish I could put into words how hard you actually work.
Yeah,
I can,
appreciate that, mate.
and I could say this. I can definitely say it's safe to say that moving over here to do in the U.S. worked out pretty good for you, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, of course, but like I said, Bobby, I'm coming to the States to play in the US Open, and I finished ninth place, and somebody comes up to me and asks me, do I want to go on the road for 3 months now? I'm like thinking to myself, do I really want to do that? But what do I do? Do I go back home and go to tournaments every 3 or 4 weeks? Maybe once every month and a half. So like I said, I took a chance knowing that I had the ability, but it was all about coming and learning the game and knowing that in the first few years, I'm not going to win anything. I might get lucky and win a couple of these tournaments in pool rooms, weekly tournaments, or maybe like the smaller predator events that were on at the time. But I knew coming here in 2013, yeah, I finished ninth in the US Open, which was an amazing achievement. But I knew I had to work hard at the game. I knew my break wasn't good. I knew my kicking wasn't good, jumping, all that stuff. The whole tactical side and the whole breaking thing. But as far as natural talent and potting balls, I knew it was always there. So it was all about kind of just, trying to get the grind in, get those few years, all the hard matches. I played Earl when I came to the States, a couple of big sets. I played Alcano. I played Boosty. I played them all in Steinway. Steinway used to be one of the best places in, the billiard world, should I say, for action. And I learned a lot from there. And obviously, I learned a lot from Earl. So I got to give a lot of credit to him because without really hanging around with them and being around them on a kind of daily basis in the pool room, and him giving me a lot of advice too. Kind of helped me because watching that guy on TV growing up, and then all of a sudden you're kind of sharing an apartment with a guy is a bit
Surreal.
wild.
Yeah.
But like I said, I got a lot of credit. I got to give to him because it's easy for someone of that talent just to not give that information away. But he was happy to give it to me, and I kind of took a lot of it on board. Maybe I'm not as crazy as him, but I think he's gave me a little bit of something.
Well, I was just going to mention that, I've been around you since basically 2013, and all of us, we kind of all hung out together, but we all knew outside of you when you were over here with Darren, and then Philip Burford, right? Is it
Yes,
Burford?
me and Phil were here at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, we were all around each other at that time, but and Phil, what a hell of a player he was, Jesus. But anyway, that being said, I think we all knew that you were going to be great right away, right? You just didn't play the American games as much. Did you get a little bit of your entertainment value from Earl? Do you think that just kind of rubbed off on you? I never thought about that.
A little bit, but I've always, if you ask anybody that's known me since I've been a young guy and played pool, they'll always tell you I was a cocky little shit. But it wasn't really more. There's a level of being cocky, right, and
Sure, of
confident, and I think a lot of people take that in a different way. So
course they do.
in my eyes, it was more confidence than being cocky. It might come off as cocky the way you're, coming across, but it was more of a confidence thing, knowing that, you know what, yeah, you might be an amazing player, but I'm not scared of you. I'll get up and play. No problem. I might be 12, you might be 30. It doesn't matter to me. In my mind, I know I've got the talent to beat you. And when it used to come off like that, a lot of people would maybe take it the wrong way.
But I
Um,
think it also worked, Jay. I think that also worked. You naturally were always like that, right? I just wanted you to answer the question.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I also think it worked, right? You're achieving what you really want to do at the end of the day. I know you don't really give a shit what other people think
yeah,
at the end of the day. I mean, that's the truth, right? You're out there trying to beat the entire world.
yeah.
And I think it naturally works for you, right? That's who you are.
Yeah, I
I,
don't. I might. Yeah, sometimes obviously when people say stuff, but you know me, Scott. I
No,
don't
no, no.
really take shit on board. I just laugh about it, man, and try and wind people up. That's my
You have
whole
fun
thing.
with it.
When
yeah.
people do that, I try and have fun with it.
It's funny you say that because at Moscone last year, I got to interview obviously your sister and your dad, and they kind of have that same attitude that you kind of have. Like they're in the crowd doing what you do on the game. They're riling everybody up. They're getting into it. They're yelling and screaming. I mean, I think security had to go over there and talk to them at one point.
Yeah, I think that was my sister at one point. She's, when people say, "Oh man, you're mad," well, times
Oh,
her
she's
by
wild.
five. She's
Yeah, yeah,
wilder
yeah.
than me. Trust me. But yeah, like I said, it's all it's all fun in games and stuff like that. I don't really take too much serious in life, to be honest with you, man. You just never know what's around the corner. So I just live my life the way I live it and just try and enjoy myself.
I
Big
think,
difference
and
with
sorry, Bobby. I think that you playing against Team USA, let's just call it what it is. You playing against Team USA, but living in America, I don't think a lot of people have really gotten a chance or given themselves a chance to get to know you outside of sometimes even that arena, whether they see you on TV in that arena or they're in person in that arena. If they got to know you for 10 minutes, it's pretty much a wrap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in my personal opinion, I think, and people know it, whether they like it or not, I think what you're doing is the right thing.
think a big part of it too, Jason, is because it's called cockiness, like you were saying, but you can back it up. That's a big difference too. You can win. You're a winner. You win the matches. You can have that confidence or cockiness, whatever you want to call it, and you've always been able to back it up. I think that is the difference too. Some players are cocky that don't have those wins under your belt.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
confident though. He tries to make a point that it's not uh cocky, right? I think I always kind of got blamed for that as well, but I was just ultra confident and it came out kind of at times looking like I was really arrogant.
Yeah. That's how the pool world perceives a lot of things that pool players say. They take things that players say and try and make it something bigger when really it's not, man. At the end of the day, we're all out here trying to win, right? All the top guys. That's what it's all about. We're not rocking up to tournaments thinking we're going to finish second and be happy. That's not what it's about. So you got to have that confidence. And like Bobby said, you got a lot of people, maybe they talk, but they can't back it up. Now, I feel like I probably wouldn't talk as much shit if I couldn't back it up. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be out there chatting shit and then go out and get beaten. I'm like, okay, or how can I keep doing that? But I've always kind of been like that since I've been a younger age. I've played in environments like the Moscone Cup since I've been like 9 years old. I used to go to play for Scotland, and there would be Wales, Ireland, England, Scotland, Gibraltar, Isle of Man. There used to be like maybe 15 different countries, and there's like 10 guys, 11 guys on each team. And they have all the home countries with them all singing national anthems in a big building. There's like 2,000 people in there. So I grew up like that my whole life up until I was about 17, 18 years old. So when I first started playing a couple of Mosconis, I think I was a little bit too hyped. As I was like a little bit too hyped and wasn't really
Again,
managing. What yeah, but wasn't really managing it. It's you can be hyped and manage your play at the same time. But I was more hyped and involved more with the crowd instead of being more like balanced.
focused, Focus
Yeah,
and then the
more
crowd do
balanced.
both. Do both.
Yeah, it's doing both, but knowing how to control both at the same time.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think after we lost in 2018 and 19, that hurt a lot. I've said it before, it really did. And I didn't never want to feel like that ever again. So I promised myself and I promised the guys, as long as I'm in that team, I'll make sure the one thing that we don't ever go through that feeling again, because I don't ever want to feel that again. And I think over the last few years, we've really proved that we don't want to be in that situation again.
Right, Jason, let's talk a little bit about you. Scott touched on this earlier. We obviously you're like less than a half an hour from me. You live in the United States. How did that end up? You staying with Europe? Was there ever inclination of you maybe playing with the USA, or can you tell us a little bit about how that worked out? And obviously against USA right now, but it worked out great
So
for them. But can you talk about that?
yeah, it's a funny little story. So 2013, I came over. I played in the US Open. I finished ninth. 2014, I got to know Shane well. Shane had won the US Open before, so we had a free room. We were hanging out a little bit, and he ended up saying, "Look, I've got a free room. We can share together if you want." So at that time, obviously, it was great because, I was just starting to make a little bit money here and there. We end up playing each other in the hot seat of the US Open, and he beats me, plays real good, and then I play Corteza to get back to the final, and I lose hill.
What year is this,
Um,
Jason?
2014.
Right.
So then 2015, I finished fourth place in the US Open. I lost to Bergman, hill again. It was a weird thing that kept happening. Was it 2015? No, I lost to Chang Hill. I lost to Chang Hill. And then 2000, that was 2015. So I was thinking I was going to get picked for the Mosconi Cup, and I didn't get picked. And we were sitting in the crowd watching the final, was it? I'm sure it was the final. And Nick Vandenberg was sat next to me, and he got a message saying that he'd got the last spot. And obviously, I was fuming because I'm thinking, how have I not got picked yet? I've been like almost there every time the last few years. So I said, if they don't pick me next year, I'm going to play for USA. I said, I've had enough. And then at that point, I'm thinking, well, if I play for USA, I'm going to be guaranteed for the next 10 years, right? So
Don't like that.
that's on my mind too. And then 2016, I probably have the best year I've ever had in my life. Won the
107,
Challenger Champions.
you win 174,000 in 2016. That's a
Yeah.
long time ago. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot of money.
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously that, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm gonna get in the team, right? I was guaranteed I'd made the team by points, but the year before, when I didn't get in the team, I went to Vegas at the Tropicana it was at, and I watched, and I thought to myself, I'm going there to watch because there's no way that I'm not getting in the Mosconi Cup next year. I'm not. It's just not happening. So I went and watched, and once I went and watched, I was like, "There's no way
You're
I
hooked.
can't
You're
make
hooked.
that. I've got to." So, like I said, I went and probably had one of the best years I've had, and just just an amazing thing to play. Obviously, first time in London in front of the home crowd, but yeah, I was all willing to do that and play for the US, no problem. Like I said, I was living here. I was spending a lot of time here. Maybe it would have been the right move at that time, just as maybe being here all the time and living here might have been a little bit easier on me instead of traveling all the time trying to make points for the European team. But yeah, 2016 had the best year ever and eventually got picked. And then when that was picked, I kind of was like, well, I can't really do it now, right? It wouldn't,
It's over.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't be a good thing for me going back home. I can tell you that.
You touched on something, Jay, real quick. You said you went and watched the Mosconi Cup the year prior, right? I know you do this, and I'm not trying to get too far up the subject. I know you did this, but I also know you do this in your career. I did it. It was very painful. But when you lost a match, if you had any way to watch that match, and this is kind of more for the amateurs out there and maybe for the younger players that are coming up, of course, it's extremely painful to lose a semifinal, to lose a final. I know you do this because of who you are. But one thing that I would recommend for people out there is whether you like it or not, go back and watch how, especially the more painful it is that you lost, go back and review what happened. Go back to that same event, revisit that moment and try and figure out what happened, maybe make you hungrier for the next event. But I think that's a good point that you went there, you got a taste of it, you realize that there's no chance on earth that I'm never not making that cup
Yeah,
again.
yeah, because I've been so close to getting picked, and then I was like, I'm so close and I've not been picked. It's going to happen soon, so I want to experience it and be there and just feel that atmosphere. And when I was in the crowd, it was weird. Um, I felt more pressure in the crowd than I did being in the actual arena, which was strange because every shot your hands are sweating. You know, you is the guy gonna make it? Is he gonna miss? Is you know, when you're in there, you can control that, but you can't control it when you're watching. So it's more you're more on edge a little bit. You're more your adrenaline's more pumping and stuff like that, which sounds weird because obviously being in the arena and on TV and playing, you would think your adrenaline would be crazy, but you can, you know, you can handle it a little bit better as of being in a crowd with like 2,000 screaming people.
Completely different
Um,
watching versus playing, right?
yeah, it's funny you say that, Scott, because I just watched a match back from the Hanoi Open and I lost 11-10 to Kopi. And I was watching that match back and I'm thinking to myself, how did I lose this match? How I played unbelievable. I was ahead the full match. I was up 9-6. Yeah, 10. Was it race to 11? No, it was race to 10, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 10. I lost 10-9. Yeah, I was up 9-6. And I can remember one shot and I was like, man, I want to see that back. 9-6, he's like left a shot and I went for the ball in the corner a long cut past the side pocket where I probably should have just dollied the ball past the side and hooked him behind the six. And the more I watch it, I'm like, how have I not played that shot? It cost me the match. I didn't get another shot after that.
Yeah, I love that though. I mean, I love that. That's just a perfect example for people
Sick.
watching you.
I
Like,
was 2 days. I'm
yeah.
like thinking to myself, how have I not played safe there? And I'm thinking, I probably shouldn't have watched that back.
No, but it's good for you, right? You know, in the long run, it's good for you.
Yeah, it's good, mate. Obviously, the at that time watching it again, you're thinking, why have I not played the safety there? But you know, we live and
But if it
learn, and
comes up, if a similar situation comes up, that's going to come into your head
of
deep
course,
down.
that's why I was just that's what I was just going to say there. I think with the shot that I've watched it back now, if it comes up again, I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to go for the one there. If I miss this, I might not get
Right.
another shot, so I'll just lock them up and then I'll try and get out and win the match. So you know, you learn from your mistakes. A lot of
Of
people
course.
probably don't watch their matches back, so they probably don't learn as much. But like Scott said, I think it's important to go back, find out what you've done wrong or what you could have done better, and try and correct it the next time.
Some great insight there, Jason. I mean, a lot of people, obviously, some of the accolades that I just read, just all the things that you won from the straight pull championship. And here you are talking about some of your biggest defeats and how, you learned from them and you got better. You knew you were going to go to Moscone. So, to all the young pool players out there, it's a huge lesson. It's not always about the winning and the accolades. It's about putting in the work, as Scott talked about earlier, correct?
Yeah, I think that's important. I know as a player myself, I never really learned a lot from winning. I learned a lot more every time I got beat. And I think if we really think about that, that's very true.
Yeah, when you win, you come off and you're like, "Oh, I played great, I won." Blah
It's
blah blah.
easy.
That's it. You just come off and you think you've played amazing, and yeah, you might have made a couple of mistakes, but it's easy to forget about it because you've won.
That's right.
Um, but when you get beat, you're off. You're back to your room, lying in the room. You're like, "Fuck," you know what I mean? You're going through the motions, trying to think about how you've missed a ball that's 2 inches for just a lot of crazy little things. Like Scott said, when you're winning, you don't see that.
change the subject real quick to about winning, and this is a important question I want to know. I don't think I've ever asked you this. I've been with you a bunch of times, obviously, in the booth next to me at the table, but just all those things that I just read. You know, you got the Hanoi Open, the multiple MVPs, two-time straight pool champion. You got the 714 and the 832. You got, like I said, you got MVPs in the Moscone, the U.S. Open Championship, right? What is your high moment? What is the thing that you're most proud about that you've done in pool?
Um, my most thing I think I've done in pool, I think obviously winning the US Open is one of my biggest titles. But then I could say that about Kuwait. I could say that about, Hanoi.
Hanoi.
I've won the International Open twice. I've won the Derby City Bigfoot 3 times. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I like to do things in big numbers. So, I think when I win certain tournaments, I know that I've won them, so I know I can go back and do the same thing. Obviously, I've proved that over, playing the last 15 years. But I think I think the US Open is probably one of my biggest ones because I'd played in that. It was my first event I ever played in 2006, and I went to that event with my dad, and I was losing to Charlie Williams. There was only, I think there was only around 30 something players left, and I played Charlie Williams, and I was losing 9-2, first to 11. And that year, he was about to get in the Moscone Cup again. And I came back and I beat him 11-10. And me and my dad obviously had left the arena and we were walking past the office, and he was in the office with Barry Byrne and he was going absolutely mental. And I've like kind of popped my head in and he's going mad saying that I've like been sharking him. Meanwhile, I've not moved out my chair. I was like literally sat there like this is a full match. My dad's like up in the crowd. And every time I was at the table, my dad would be like, come on, you know what I mean? So I'd kind of like look around him, but I would never do anything when he was shooting. I'd just sit there. Well, obviously, as I come back and beat him, he's in there complaining about how I've been moving about while he's shooting and stuff like that. But there was nothing said when he was 9-2 up. And I think that kind of cost him that year, maybe a spot in the Moscone. And that was like one of my biggest wins coming over to the States, because obviously Charlie Williams was an amazing player.
How old are you then?
I was only 16.
Wow.
So I had played him, and then I ended up getting knocked out by Mike Davis. Mike Davis, a great player, but at that time I was like, how's this guy making balls? Because he had like this, like it was like I would call it a saw action. Basically, his action would go up and down, but he would get out every single time.
Played really good. Played
Yeah,
really good.
super nice guy as well, Scott. Really
Great
nice
guy.
guy.
Great guy. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that was kind of my big thing. So then when I thought to myself, I've only been playing this game maybe like 6 months and I can beat somebody like Charlie Williams. So that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence. And yeah, obviously playing in that tournament since 2006. My biggest thing about that event was when I walked in, when Barry used to have it, he used to have all the previous champions come into the arena with all their green jackets on and take pictures and do all that stuff. And I seen that and I was like to my dad, I want one of them. I want one of them. I'm telling you, my dad was like, yeah, maybe if you keep playing, you'll get one. I'm like, I want one. I'm going to get one of them. And I was
So
so
Jayson,
close.
sorry,
I
go ahead.
was so
Finish.
close for like 2 or 3 years. And then 2017, I played. I don't think anybody I played in that tournament got past like 6 or 7 games. I played probably the best pool I've ever played in my life.
Do you think what tournament do you think is was the toughest for you to win? I know coming as a player, they're all very similar when they come to majors, but
Um,
which one did you really want the most? It sounds to me like it was really that tournament, the
It
U.S.
was
Open.
the US Open because I'd been so
Yeah,
close so many times, Scott. I kept losing hill when it
yeah.
got down to like the nitty-gritty bits, and I wasn't doing anything wrong. Just I played Shane in 2016. I finished third place in 2016. 2015, I finished fourth place. 2014, I finished third place. 2013, I finished ninth place. So I could
all
have won
over.
the US Open like 4 times, I'm thinking to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And when I played Shane in 2016, I was up 5-0 in the semi-final to play Chang. Gone to the toilet, took a timeout, come back, broke dry. He won a couple of games. I got up, and then he ended up coming back, and it was 9-9. He broke, ran out, and then broke and made the 9 on the break. And I was so sick. I went away from there, and I'm not joking you. I had the diamond table at US1, and I was there every single morning from 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock every day. And then at night time, I was going back there around like 7 after I'd got the kids. And I was going straight back, and I was staying there till like 1 in the morning. And I was just playing constant. And on my mind was US Open, US Open. That's all I had on my mind.
That's a
All
great
I had.
that's a great story right there, because that really was my next question to say, Jason, how did you go from getting so close every single time to finally getting over the hump? And obviously then just from there it just start snowballing. But I think you just answered the question. You just had that determination, right? We just started playing and you're like, you're gonna win.
Yeah, it was more about I know I was there and I was that close, but I couldn't do anything about it. It was just the game. It was making that, I wasn't making mistakes and giving the match away. It wasn't like I was dogging it and losing the match. The game was just the way it was. The guy would either break and get out in the last game, or I would break and have no shot and push out, and then all of a sudden they would play a good shot and win the game from it. And I'm saying I'm so close. I got to keep going and going and going, and eventually these small roles will change, and that's what pool's all about. You can be on a bad run for a long time, and not really playing bad, playing good, but the game doesn't allow you to win sometimes. That's just how nine ball is, and I think a lot of people don't see it like that. A lot of people see you losing and they'll say, "Oh, he's not playing well," but then when you look back at it and you think, "Well, I've just played the last 3 or 4 major events. I've been in the last 16 every time. I've been in the quarters. I'm right there, thereabouts. I'm not really
You're
doing too
talking
much."
as of late right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's what
Of
I'm
course.
saying.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
right
so
there every time.
he
Like
played
if you
when you
look
played
from
here at
last
the
year, sorry,
McDermott
Bobby, go
Open.
ahead.
Sorry, yeah, when you played here at the McDermott Open, you came in, I think, third, fourth, or whatever. You were playing great. You had Kachi 7-5. You so I
I
forget what
actually had him
happened.
9-5, Bobby.
9-5. I don't
I
remember
had
what was
him
the
nine
scratch.
five, and he broke off, landed on the bottom cushion. Two ball was in like just off the rail on the side, and the 9 ball was like way up in the middle of the table, and he fired in a long combo, dead weight, and then
That's
ran
it.
the match out.
Yeah, that was it.
I
That
was
was
commentating.
unbelievable.
I
It
was
was sick.
commentating.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
so
sick.
Unbelievable.
sick. And then I played Bosnia, lost in the last 16 to Filler. He played good, obviously won the event, played amazing. Then I played the
PLP.
PLP. I played really good there too. Finished fifth or sixth, I think. And then I've gone
Yeah.
from there to the UK Open. I finished fifth at the UK Open, played another good tournament. Played the Moscone, played amazing. Played in Hanoi, played amazing, lost 10-9 in the quarters. US Open, I finished in the last 16. The year before, I was in the quarters of the US Open. I won Hanoi. I've been there. I've been right there every time.
Yeah, whenever you're in the final eight, you've got a legitimate chance to win the tournament.
Yeah,
Especially when any time you're in the final eight, you've got a legitimate chance. Not specifically you, but any top player
yeah.
has a real
Anybody.
good chance of winning the tournament. And that's
It,
just what's been happening to you as of late.
I played the UK Open there. I was playing amazing, and then I played in the quarterfinal. I didn't really play bad. Just the balls weren't running for me, and obviously Jonas played real good. Broke and run a lot of his games. Every time I broke, I was pushing out or couldn't see a ball, and that's just the nature of the game. Sometimes you'll be playing amazing, and you break and you won't see the one, and then your opponent breaks and sees the one 3 or 4 times, and that's really all it comes down to in this game. It's fine margins, and really, it's just all about the break sometimes.
Let's change gears again a little bit here. Let's talk a little bit about your straight pull. titles. Let's talk about, first of all, touch a little bit about the 714 one. I mean, that was obviously real important to you because you obviously broke the record of 600 and something. I forgot what it was, but I mean, you got 714, and then you had a little controversy. People were saying, "Oh, you only had 650, 660,
669. Listen,
669." Yeah,
I,
and let's
I
talk a little
was,
bit about that, and then talk about the big one, the 832, which was beautiful. Everybody saw that, but let's talk about both of those,
all right,
sir.
I'll tell you something about this. So when the world record was set right by John Schmidt, John Schmidt set the world record of 500. Was it no 626? He ran
Yeah, he beat Mosconi's. Yeah, finally
right. He
after.
beat Mosconi's by one.
Yeah,
No, 100.
100, 100. Yeah,
Right,
100. Yep.
which is amazing. Now he was one of his biggest followers, and he always wanted to beat that record. Right, he tried for many years to do that. Finally, he beats it and doesn't want to show anybody. So he wants to do private viewings now. Right? That's fine if you want to do that. So all of a sudden, his run gets all clarified, and it's in the New York Times the next morning, the very next morning. So his video gets clarified. It's all good. So I do the run. I'm about to, take it and try and get it, seen by the BCA and stuff like that. So Bobby Chamberlain has spoke to them, and they're gonna meet up. One person with Bobby. They're gonna meet up at the airport, and they're gonna get a room in the airport, and they're gonna sit down and watch it. So Bobby shows up, and they show up with 6 people. All different people.
6. I thought it was 2 people.
Three guys that are good with computers, and they had to get a room in a hotel that had a 75-inch TV. Now, the run took 2 hours and 39 minutes. They were in this room for almost 9 hours. 9 hours. Basically, went through every single little shot, trying to nitpick. Oh, maybe he touched this ball. Maybe he did this. We'll have to watch it back. Now, when they left that room, they had already said to Bobby that run would be 714, and it was good. It was set. Now, remember this, there was only supposed to be one guy showing up in Bobby, so there'd been 2 people in that room. Now there was like 7 people in there. Bobby said, I felt like I was going to get done in. He said, that's how crazy it was. He said, they were all against it. He says, and when they left, they shook my hand and said the 714 was confirmed. He says, when they left there, they went away and put a second committee together. So they went away and put people like Ed Ladawi, Pat Fleming, Dawson Holman, Bob Jewett, who else? There was like 7 or 8 different people they'd put in a committee and try to do another one. Meanwhile, when John Schmidt's done it, only one person watched it, and he did it off a phone. So there was no overhead camera, no side camera. You can't even see him racking the balls. And his video was fine, right? So there was nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So all of a sudden, they've come back and said, oh, he's did this, and we've looked at it and all that stuff. So I've turned around and said, I want his video reviewed again.
Yeah.
If mine's is getting reviewed
Understandable.
like
Yeah,
this,
if you're getting it done by 6 people, why is he getting
yeah,
one?
why
sure.
is he
Well,
not?
why is that happening? Why
Well,
did that happen?
I found out
I
why.
had no idea.
Are you ready? This is the
Yeah.
big one. The night he did the 626, within the space of like 12 hours, it was already in the New York Times. So all of a sudden, how can they now go through a video and something says, oh, the run's not legit, and then it makes Pool look really bad, right? It would make a black eye on the game if all of a
Right.
sudden his 626 and controversial and something's happened in it. I'm not saying there's anything happened in it. Might have been, might not have been, but how can you see someone racking like this, but you can't see nothing going forward? At least from an overhead camera or a side camera, you can see if the balls are being racked higher.
The spot stuff,
Everything.
for sure.
So we went through all this and we tried to fight it and whatever, and then finally said, oh, we're going to award you with a plaque at the Hall of Fame dinner at the International Open. So when I've showed up, they've gone, look, we're going to give you this plaque it's gonna say 669 on it. But we
Wow.
don't. You're gonna go up on stage, but please don't like go off. And I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I'm definitely going off. Are you mad? I'm like,
Can you
where's the
imagine
mic?
telling Jayson Shaw, don't go
Yeah.
off?
I'm like, where's
Well,
the mic?
after all that,
And Mike
after all that
Panaz,
work,
Mike Panaz was like, Jay, you know what I mean? Just, and I'm like, listen, it's not my moment, right? It was who was getting inducted that year?
irrelevant.
Who-
I mean, really, whoever was
Yeah,
getting inducted, it was
whoever was
their
getting
moment.
inducted, I
You
felt
deserve
like
it.
it was
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
for me to go up there and say anything, right? So I
Sure.
went up there, I took it on the chin, like a
Wow.
man. I really went up there. I was up there, man, and I was like this close from just ripping everybody. And I was like, okay, I can't. I says, I'll get my moment one time. I'm gonna get that moment to be up there. I'll get a green jacket and I'll get in the Hall of Fame one day. And when it's my turn up there, then it can be me to speak. But it wasn't my night, so I felt it wasn't good to the guys who were getting inducted. So I never really said anything. Took the plaque and whatever. When I went away from there, I was so sick, and I'm thinking to myself, went all the way down there, grinded my ass off to do this, and now I'm like getting it basically took away from me, right? So I'm thinking, I know I can beat the record. I know I can do it. I have it in me. I know it. So I've been for months and months. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm going back there. I know I can do this, and I really just wanted to do it so I could stick it to them. You know, I really wanted to do it so bad, just so when I went there, Bobby was saying to me, why are you so jacked up over balls? Like your hand is like this. And
Want
I'm
them to
like, I
see?
ain't touching nothing. I
Oh
ain't
my
touching
Yeah.
nothing.
gosh.
I'm gonna be this far away if
Wow.
I have to, just to make sure I didn't do nothing. But I think in my defense, I think I was wrong when I did this 714 because I should have sat and watched the video first, right, before anybody, just to make sure.
Sure.
Now, I didn't. I let the guys who had the videos, all the tech stuff, go and do all that, and I went away and relaxed and did what I had to do. When I did when I did the 832, I didn't let anybody take that video. I took the video. I
Yep.
came home. I drove home that night. I got home and I came downstairs and I sat downstairs for almost 4 hours and I watched every single rack twice. Just rewind it back, any close shots, just to make sure. And I text Bobby and I said, Bobby, tell them to try and find something now. Go get them. I said, send it to them. If they can find something, I said, then they're a genius. I said, because this is so clean. And that was the only reason I went back to do it, just to prove that. Listen, when I was growing up, if you played English 8 ball or you played snooker, if you touched a ball, every single person owned up to the foul. There was none of this, oh, I'll get away with it, because if people knew you were a cheat, it was bad. You would
Yep.
get absolutely drilled. So nobody was ever like that in English 8 ball. If I felt like I touched a ball or I did something, I would have looked at Bobby and been like this, because there was many times I'd been on like 200, 150. And Bobby always said to me, if you touch a ball, just carry on. And I'm like, I can't do that. How can I run 200 balls, know I've touched a ball, and carry on? But in straight pool, you carry on because there's some certain rules here and there. I don't know all the rules at that point, but Bobby said, you just carry on. And I said, Bobby, there's no way I'm running 200 balls, knowing I've touched a ball, and carry on and then run 500 and it's in my mind. I said, there's no way.
Well, you're probably never gonna, just being honest, you're probably never gonna run another 500 knowing that you touched a ball,
No
right?
chance.
Your mindset's already fucked. To be
No
honest with you.
chance. I just
Yeah.
raked the balls and he kept looking at me. And I'm like, Bobby, I can't do it. I can't run more balls knowing that I can't do that. It's not in me. I really don't have it in me to do that. So when I went back, I just made sure that I was so far away from everything and I was so far up on my bridge. Like if I was over a ball like that, I'd make sure I was doing it like that. You know what I mean? Just to not have any controversy, because you know what people are like. People like to get involved and then they start slating you and saying you're a cheat and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bobby,
We're gonna get
Bobby,
into that a little bit too,
this
but
this is crazy. So Jason and I were talking at one point, and I got to review it. I think because we didn't know Jason didn't know if the BCA was gonna review it and maybe take it in, whatever the case. But there was 10 people that had to review his video, and I was like the last of the 10. I'll tell you what I should have done. It took me forever to review this video, and I sat right here in this very room, right here at this very spot, and I was there all night long. What started to blow my mind, and I don't play straight pool, right? I think it's a great game and I'll play it, is how many freaking times he was jacked up over balls. I'm telling you, like Jason probably has a better idea, but I would think it's close to 100 times that he was elevated over a ball.
Easily.
Yeah, insane, insane. Like that just to me is absolutely crazy. If you nick a ball, if you feather a ball with your finger, it's a wrap. It's over.
Yeah.
All that work is for naught. Just crazy to me because once you sit there and review that and rewind it, and I did many times, I'm like, God, he is so close to those balls. It's absolutely amazing to me to be able to do what you did there, 832.
Wild to
two
me.
times too. He did do the 714, and I was at the party. I believe that 100%. I didn't see the video, but I
Yeah.
was at the party. That was amazing stuff even before. But I got to touch base, tell a little quick story about Jason. So when he won the 714 the first time, he was on his way home. And I remember I texted him for something, and then he said, "I'm going home" or whatever. And then he turned around, right? You went turned around, and you
Yeah.
went back to take the record. Mind you, I saw the pictures of your hands. If you guys ever played pool, you guys obviously played pool. This man had blisters on his hands from playing pool.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievable, and he had the drive to go back. So tell us a little about that quick story, because that blew my mind. It still does to this day.
Well, at that time, I was there 4 days. I think the first day I went, I ran over. I'd never played straight pool like that before, right? Gone in multiple runs. I'd never did that. I played a couple of straight pool events here and there. I've gone there. The first day, I've ran over 255 times in the first day. And he's saying to me, "You sure you've not played straight pool?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, when do I play straight pool? And he's like, "Well, you seem really good at it." So first day goes past. Then I start hitting like 300, 390, 402. And I kept getting stuck on balls, or I would like get a bad kick and scratch. And I was going through it, man. And the fourth day I was up. What did I run in the last day? I think I ran like four. It was like 492 or something, and something weird happened. And I was like, right, that's it, enough. I'll come back another day. I was just beat. So I go to eat food and that, and we're talking, and he's like, man, and we had this conversation many
It's when the
times.
cue ball actually went down into the corner and you almost scratched through all the balls, I think. That's what happened, I think.
Yeah, yep.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
we're sitting there, and he's saying to me, "Jay, think about this. How many times have you been in there and you've ran over 300?" He says, and then something weird's happened. He says, and then the next inning you've ran another 300. He says, take that mistake out and put those two together. He says, and you got 700 right there. So I'm thinking to myself, he's not wrong. I've ran like 300, something bad's happened. I've ran 250, something bad's happened. I've ran another 250. I'm like, if I just, something bad doesn't happen, I can get it. So we're eating food and that, and I get in the car. I've got the car all the way back, feet on the dashboard and that. And I look down, it said like 4.5 hours. So I look back down, it says 7 minutes, and I'm like, huh? I'm like the GP, and she's like, we're going back. She's like, you want to go back, right? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you can do it. You know you want to go back. And I'm like,
Oh, that's
oh.
awesome.
So I'm like, and she's
Amazing.
saying, you're so close. And I'm like, yeah, but and Bobby's like, if you just take, so then I started thinking, I'm like, right, okay, we'll stay one more day. So we end up staying. I go to the hotel, check into a nice hotel. I actually checked into the Ritz, like 320 a night. I thought they've got a sauna, steam room. I'll just go there all day, chill out, take a couple of hours nap, and then I'll just go back and play all through the night. You know what I mean? I'll put in a long session, maybe 12 hours. So I go back there. I've run like 300, 250, 355, 390 odds, 402. And I look out the window and it's like 6:45 in the morning, and I can see the light, and I'm like, oh. I turn to him and I go,
Crazy.
Bobby, last chance. I says, I'm out of here after this. I'll come back, and then boom, run 7:14.
That's right. Boom.
In 2 hours and 39 minutes. And at that point, when I'm running balls, because it's that late in the morning, I'm just playing. My brain's not
You're
even
in the
thinking.
zone. You're just
Yeah,
playing.
you're just playing. And then obviously I've done the 7:14, and it's like 9 in the morning or something. And somebody's handed me a beer. I don't know why, but I've gone, okay, I'll drink it. I took one sip out it and threw up all over the floor.
Oh wow.
I think because I've been up that long and my brain
Yeah.
was just fried and I didn't really eat any food. It was just, but when I scratched, I was like, oh man. And then I was like, thank God I can sit down now. It was one of those ones, yeah, I was sick. And obviously at that moment, I'm thinking, it's been a rough 5 days. I'm just obviously happy to beat it. But a lot of people don't know that the first time I beat it, there was almost like 47,000 in a pot. That a lot of these people who play straight pool and who were fans of straight pool and loved the game had all put monies up from different things and put it up if someone could beat a record.
Wow.
I didn't know about that until I seen Shane and Ruslan and Earl, and I'm thinking, why are they all playing straight pool? Like, how's that come about? And then I found out, and I was like, sign me up. Sign me up. And then the last time I did it, somebody put $10,000 up for me to beat the run. And when I heard that, I'm like, right, okay, that's kind of worth going back to try it again. Right,
Yeah, and
10,000 worth it.
you can mention their names too, Jay, if you wanted. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Well,
But I think that's pretty cool.
yeah, I think I would like. I
Yeah,
I don't
it's
want to
fine
say
if
it.
yeah, yeah.
He's
No,
really well known in the pool world. He's a big pool
yeah,
lover. He's at most of the events. I just don't know if he would want me to say that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I would like to thank him for doing that, and I think him doing that motivated me also a little bit more to go back and prove that the first time wasn't luck, or it wasn't like I tried to cheat or whatever people think, whatever they want to think, but it's absolutely insane. Like I said, in the second time I'd run a couple of hundred balls and touched a ball, and I just wiped the balls, and he looked at me like, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "Bobby, I
Yeah.
touched it. I ain't carrying on. I'm not doing it."
Well, I think you're designed for the game. I've said that. When I say that, what I mean by is your mindset. And Bobby just touched on it. Your mindset, you have the ability to get into this zone, but we've all been in that zone, but your zone just doesn't stop, right? I've seen you do it a bunch of times in different sports or in different
Yeah,
games, but you're able to just kind of drift away and you don't use any energy, which is crazy. Like you can see it in your body. You're just kind of flowing around the table. You're never jolty or quick or like slaving over a ball. And I think that's massive when you start to talk about 800 balls when you're running them. And the short amount of time you do it is absolutely
It's
insane.
mind blowing. It really is.
It's insane, and I know, and I will say it right here. I've got a big pile of cash right back there somewhere. I'll put all of that cash up, and I know he'll do it for me. I know he can beat 1,000. I know he can run 1,000. He's just waiting
Yeah.
for that time. He's
Yeah.
just waiting for that time. He can do it when he wants. He could do it
Do you
tomorrow.
know what's funny though? People have asked me when you're gonna go do it, and I said when someone else comes around and tries to do it somewhere else or set something up, then I'll be hiding in that room. And I probably won't do what we did the last few times and let it up on Facebook Live. I will go there and I'll run 1,000 or more, and I'll just hold it. I'll just keep it. I won't say nothing. And then when somebody says, "Oh, by the way, I ran 900," I'll say, "Oh, by the way, I ran 1,100." There you go. That's the
You
goal.
have the
That
record for a day.
that that's the ultimate goal, is to go back there and run more than 1,000 balls, but not show it, and then wait for somebody else to run more than 8:32 and be like, "Oh, by the way," and I'll be like, "Oh, really?" Here, it lasted 12 hours. But I don't think there'll be anybody trying it anytime soon because you need something to do it for. You know, you need to be you can't just go there and run balls and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm there just to beat the record. You
Motivated,
need a
need
little bit of
motivation. You need
motivation. You need a
motivation.
little bit of
Yes.
something on the end, dangling a little
Yep.
carrot just to get you going.
Great.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of motivation though in trying to get that record in. And I noticed that right after you won the first record is like I said, I started seeing people playing straight pool. I've never seen Lucas was practicing straight pool. I know Earl obviously always still does, but you see him saying he's running more balls. So you did something to bring that sport back a little bit. I don't think it's got to the next level where everybody's playing it, but you definitely did a little something with that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people that played straight pool thanked me for, trying to bring the game back and showing a little bit of light to it. I think it's one of the best games as far as like understanding. Um, it's not all about just pocketing balls, right? It looks like that, but it's not. It's all about staying in the zone, staying in that, focused and trying to leave the right shots and bump the right balls. And it kind of reminds me a lot of playing snooker, Bobby. Because when you're playing snooker and you're in about the reds, it's like stun, stop, stun, stop. You're never really going up and down the table.
Right. Not playing
So
9-ball position for sure.
yeah, you're just kind of like stunning balls and kind of rolling balls in. And I think the second time I did it was really bad. January for the full of January, I think I thought for a while I was going to be out the game, maybe for like 2 or 3 months. I had I had some of the worst pain you've ever seen. It. These two fingers were numb for like 3 or 4 weeks. My full wrist, my
Yeah.
arm, like I was getting acupuncture. I was doing so much, and the lady was telling me that my L7 nerve in my neck. But that's from just doing this.
Yeah.
If
For
you're
12
playing
hours a
nine ball,
day.
you're
Yeah.
swinging, right? But at
Yep.
straight pool, you're just stopping. So my
Right.
shoulder and my neck all locked up, and like the full of January, I was completely out of the game. I could even pick my hand up over my shoulder like that.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
It's
And like,
it's more mental and physically exhausting, more than anything I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I
well,
mean, I'll say it. I've had now, I've had several sessions of high-end one pocket for um, upwards of 2 days. And maybe a little coffee, and that's about it. But it'll drain you mentally first, and then the physical comes. It will drain you.
Yep, and it's not nice. It's not nice trying to get yourself back out of that, man. It's
No,
brutal.
it's not. No.
Really is brutal. And
ex-
at that time, obviously, I just did that, and then the Derby was coming around too, and I'm like, I go to the Derby for 11 days after doing that. It
no
was a
way.
tough one, mate. It was a tough one.
Yeah, and especially with pool players, this guy, you too, as well, with one pocket and stuff. And we talked about this so far with Jason. You guys' memory, you remember every shot, especially the ones that you miss, and to get over that and get to the next hump and continue on is something special that you do, whether it's in a match or even doing your run. How do you do that to overcome that mistake that you made or the bad roll that you made? Because, like I said, your memory is just you're talking about shots from 2016. You know what I mean? So you're remembering every shot that happens. How do you do that psychologically? It's just amazing.
I think I don't know. I think in pool, it's it's very it's very easy to remember a lot of stuff that goes on because the game is so wild, right? And a lot of crazy things happen in the game. But it's funny how you always remember the crazy, crazy things that happen. And then like the small, simple things, you're like, oh, I can't really remember. And someone's like, remember this shot that was like that? And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's just a pool player's brain. It's just different because they don't do anything else, right? They don't do nothing
Right.
else except from play pool all day, gamble at night time in the pool room, sleep, dream about pool, dream about bad shots, dream about lucky shots, wake up, same again. And I think it's just in the brain, it's in the blood. And, I think if you talk to 95% of pool players, they'll remember half of the stuff that's happened maybe 10 years ago. I'm sure Scott
Yep,
can remember a
absolutely.
lot of things
Oh
like
yeah,
that as well.
yeah. There's since 2001, probably I remember key situations. I think that players though have like photographic memories, right? I think that that's like you
I
said,
agree.
it's
I
just
agree.
kind of ingrained into their mind, and that's what
Yeah.
they relate to. You know,
Yeah, I think any maybe other top sport, kind of like golf, tennis, I
similar.
think those guys probably in similar, you
Yeah.
know, remember all that stuff because, like I said, they're not really doing much else. It's all about practice, play, practice, play. It's the same thing daily for your full life, basically.
All right, Jason, you already said that you like to mix it up a little bit. We're going to try to mix up a little bit. What's going on with you and Fedor, right? Now,
Who?
when you Fedor Gorst, you heard of him?
Who's that?
Yeah. So hold on. Let's do this. Let's do this first. I obviously just got back. I know Bobby watched it.
Yep.
In my opinion, and I know Jason. I mean, you can't. You did you watch the match?
I watched it, mate. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, his
he
break
played. Yeah,
was the kid really. I don't know. You know, and I'm saying that with you on this screen. I don't know who could beat him in that atmosphere right there
yeah.
in that situation. He played. It's hard for me to ever say something like that, whether it's Federer, anybody. He
He
played
played.
unbelievable.
He broke great.
He
He
broke
played
so good.
good. He broke good, and Shane just wasn't Shane, really, was he?
No,
Right.
I think, but that has a lot to do with what Federer was doing,
Of
like
course, of
early.
course, of course.
That's what happens, right?
More pressure
Like,
watching him getting out all the time, breaking.
yeah,
Shane can't make a ball in the break. He's thinking, shit, he's just going to break and run the next game he breaks. You know what I mean? It's all mental. It's all up here, mate.
that's right.
Um,
So
I
I want
will
to talk.
say, I will say this though. Obviously, watching the match for 3 days, obviously Fedor broke from the same spot, broke real good, played real good too, played solid, and obviously Shane broke terrible. But for someone of his caliber and the amount of matches he's played and how long he's played, I don't understand
I already
how you
know what
can
he's
be
gonna do.
so stubborn, man, and not move the cue ball. How can you break from the same spot for 80 games or 78 games, whatever you want to call it?
More than that, more
Yeah,
than that.
more than that because he broke dry a lot, right? But how can you stay there knowing that you know that these balls should be going this side? They're coming this low, so the only way to make that happen is going more there. You,
Inside,
yeah, you go more, right? So all of a
yeah.
sudden, he clocks it when he's down like 30 odd games at the end. And I'm thinking to myself, how come you've not seen that like after the first day? Surely he went back to his room and watched a little bit and said to himself, got to move the cue ball a little bit here. But he just was watching how he was breaking and was trying
Well,
to follow him.
that's exactly right. That's what I said in that
It's
post
mad,
recap. Like I could see
mad.
it right there. Like he was so involved in what Federer was doing that like he didn't even pay attention to what was happening when he broke. And of
No,
all people that do that, Shane's like the best in the world to make those adjustments. He did
100%.
he's the best in the world to make those adjustments and never made that adjustment. I
Not
was
one, not
befuddled
one time. Well, he did at the end, but it was
at
too
the
late
end,
back
but it's
then.
too late at that
Yeah.
point. And he started executing at that time, and I don't even think he recognized that he was making the balls on the side once he
No, he
started
was
doing it.
more he was more looking at the one hanging up because he's like, man, why does the one keep going? And he wasn't even looking at those balls.
No, yeah,
But yeah, obviously Fedor played an amazing set there. I think Shane's he's still got it. He's still, he's still there. He's still an amazing
sure.
player. He's a champ, you know what I mean? You never lose that no matter what age you are. He's not even that old, man. He's like what, 40?
41.
41, I think.
Big deal, man. It's nothing. It's nothing, man. Look at
No,
look at guys like Niels and that. You know what I mean? And they're still there, man. Ralph, all those guys are
Ralph is
still
killing it,
there.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all
I
still there.
I think he'll be all right, but kind of I think Bobby, where were you going with this
Well, I was, I
topic?
mean, I was just going to talk a little bit about Jayson always seems to be going Fedor a little bit. Remember back at Moscone when he had the Fedor pictures on his
Yeah,
face?
I'm just in a wind up. I like it. I'm a wind up guy.
It's I love it. It's awesome, And then I want to just talk a little bit about social media and your guys' mindset. Like you talk about, the match that happened, the $100,000 match that Scott just talked about, and the social media. How do you deal with all the criticism from people and what they say? Like you can say one sentence in a post, and man, they're going to take it and run. And I think some of it you do on purpose, but sometimes
Of
they just
course.
take the ball and roll it. It's just unbelievable to watch. It's like
I'll tell
lighting a
you what.
bomb.
I'll tell you one thing that have been going on about. All I see is Shaw's scared. Shaw's scared. Shaw's scared. Oh, Shaw don't want to play Fedor. He's scared. How's about this? I went to Vegas 2011 on holiday. I ended up going to Griff's. It wasn't Griff's at the time. It was
Pool
what was the name?
Sharks.
Yeah,
Pool
and it
Sharks.
had the pit.
That's where I won the 1.2 million.
So listen, this is crazy, Scott. I don't even know who John Mora is, right? I thought John Mora was Stevie Moore. Right? I'm not joking you. I
We
don't
might
know
have to
why.
clip that one.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Right? Something happened. Obviously, I don't know what happened. So I thought it was him anyway. When he strolled in, I'm thinking to myself, "That's not fucking Stevie Moore." Like, who the fuck's that? Anyway, I found out it's John Mora. I'm like, yeah, let's play. Got no cue. Got nothing. Remember a guy called Walter Glass?
Of course, I knew
Right?
Walter Glass
I
really
played
well. Yeah.
him. I played him a couple of sets. He beat me, and then I played him, and I beat him again. And he says, "Oh, I've got somebody to play you." So anyway, I've ended up playing John Mora. I've not got a cue. I've ended up borrowing a cue. I'm in Vegas. I lose 20K to John Mora. I'm with a few of my friends, my brother-in-law, a famous football goalkeeper who played for Glasgow Rangers. All got plenty of money, and they're like, "Yeah, no problem, let's play." I'm in there playing John Moore, races to 30 for 10 grand a set. Not got a clue. I think he's called Stevie Moore. Oh man! And then I moved to the States. I come to Steinway. I play Earl 2 sets for 5,000, 2,500 a set. Beat him. I played Alcano two or
What
three
year was
times.
that? What year was that, would you say, when you were
2013,
playing
14,
more?
15.
Okay, right when you first got here.
Yeah. And then I play Alcano a couple of times. I play Boosty in Steinway. I played a bunch of other challenge matches. Then I played Shane at Castle Billiards, race to 100. Then I've played Shane another race to 100. Then I've played him another race to 129 ball. I played Bergman. I've played Dennis Orcolo a big set. I've played them all. Like, how can people like come out and say, "I'm scared to play Fedor"? Are you mad? It
So
just
you
doesn't
would,
make it.
so you, how would you play? What would you play? I'm gonna put you
I'd
on the
play.
spot, Jay.
I,
You know
I
how I am. I'm
I'm
gonna put you
playing.
on the
I'm
spot. How
playing.
you gonna play him?
Listen, I'm playing nine ball because it's more random. I ain't fucking watching someone break and making two balls dead in the side and the one hangs over the corner. All they have to
So
do
when
is
you,
control the rock.
yeah, when you say you're playing nine ball, what type of nine ball?
I'll play them the same way I played Shane. So basically, when I played Shane, we we set the balls up. So what we'd do was we'd put the magic rack up on the table, and then we'd take a couple of balls out, like three balls from underneath, and whatever three balls came
Random,
out
random,
first. Yeah, it
random.
was just random. So we couldn't put the two in a certain position, you know what I mean? There wasn't in none of that.
No patterns.
I've watched Fedor play a couple of matches at nine ball, and when they gamble, he puts the two ball behind the nine on the other side he breaks from, and the cue ball goes across the table, misses the nine, and the two ball stays down that side of the table every break. I'm not playing someone in a money match when they
What
just
do you
put
mean
the.
when he's gambling? He's doing that?
He did it against Biado when they played in that. They played in that same place, right?
Yeah, but to his defense, did they have a rule like that they couldn't do that?
I don't know, but Scott, you don't want to put the two ball in the same place for
No, I
120
get it.
games, do you?
No, I get it, but if they don't come up with it,
Yeah, if they don't come up with that, but
who's not going to do it?
I'm not sitting there and watching someone put the balls in the same order for fucking 120 games. I'm not doing it, mate.
That's why they
Um,
changed the rules now. They did
and then
change it because of that,
also, I'll
I
tell you
believe.
one thing.
Yes,
How
they did.
Matt, I've ran I've ran over 500 balls, right, on video, 4 times. I've ran 714 on video. I've ran 832 on video. Not one time in those runs did I ever take the cue ball to get cleaned or any other ball off the table. Never in my life. I can't believe that they take the balls after 10, 15, 20 games, take a little break, and they're away polishing the balls. Don't think so. He wants everything to be smooth, just smooth everything. Get the ball sticky, get the table sticky, and let's see how you play. I
Sure.
played,
And listen, I'm not disagreeing to that,
I
but
played,
once again, there's two people involved in that negotiation, and either Shane's soft or he wanted the same thing.
I played Shane right last time, and it was raced to 120. We played, and I rocked up to the place in is it San Antonio? What's the name we played in? Benito.
Benito's, yeah, I've talked to Benito a lot.
What's the name of the pool room?
Max used to go there.
Smoking. I
Yeah,
can't remember, something like that.
good guy. Real
When
good
we
guy.
got there, the table that we were playing the match on, Scott, they had a couple of people play on the table like a week before, when obviously it should have been brand new. The table was worn, so when the ball was on the side rail and you would just nip the rail, the ball would just jaw. After I watched Shane practice, man, and as soon as I seen it, his eyes, he was like, man, these pockets are, and I looked at the cloth and there was like a couple of beer stains on it, and I thought, you got to be shooting like straight, right? You got to be shooting straight. There ain't no like nicking the rail and bobbling and
sliding
falling. There was
in.
none of that. So I
I
think
remember every game of that match, by the way.
I think when you're gambling, right? I think when you're gambling, yeah, you want the table to be a new cloth and that, but when the conditions change and it starts getting a little bit bouncy and it gets a little bit grabby and that's how it's actually supposed to be, man. It's supposed to be able to get in that nitty gritty and try and control the bounce, and maybe it's coming off a little bit different. Maybe the rails are bouncing more than normal. That slide is not there, so when you kick two rails, you gotta be going a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it could have worked the same for Shane. I'm just
I'm not
saying,
saying
you know what
that.
I mean?
I'm not saying that. I'm
Yeah,
saying if I play their match, whatever happens in their match, but if we're
that
playing,
ain't happening.
no,
You're saying.
I want the table to be, yes, a new table, but I don't want to be cleaning the balls with pledge and getting them all nice and slidey and all. No way, no chance. Scott,
Scott, look,
when you
look,
gamble for big money and played big one pocket sets, you cleaning the balls every
I was
couple of
just going
games.
to ask him that, Jay.
Huh?
I was just going to
No
say that.
way.
How many
You
times
know
Of
that.
course not.
did
I
You
wanted
Scott,
know,
him.
you
I
know
how
wanted
that
the
many
if a
times,
pockets
guy,
Scott? How
smaller.
many
I wanted
times? How many times?
you
I
know if
wanted
a
the
guy
pockets
is,
smaller
you know if a guy
and the
is
balls dirtier.
struggling and he doesn't understand, like he's used to slidey pockets and just dollying balls
Of
in halfway
course,
down
of
and all
course.
that. When you start making it where the pockets are tight, the rails are playing a little bit bouncing out, you have to be playing real good. You need good shape. You need good shots. You can't just pound the ball in and come two rails back to the middle. You got to be
Right.
playing smooth, man. You got to be playing good. You got to be hitting the ball good. So there's a lot of things that I would say. The 10 ball I would play. I'm not scared to play 10 ball, but I think 9 ball it's more. You're not going to watch a guy's going to break, make two balls on
Well,
the side. One's going to come
explain
over the
that though.
corner.
Explain that, Joe Jay, because a lot of these people aren't like highly versed on 10 ball, right? We
Yeah,
clearly explain what you're talking about versus 9 ball,
yeah.
especially with
So
the matchroom rules. Matchroom rules, 9 ball on the spot versus 10 ball with a magic rack.
yeah, so 10 ball with a magic rack. Um, you, if you rack the balls properly and you're breaking from kind of center, you should make the balls behind the one in the side ball. That's more the natural way for using the magic rack, right? You get a tight rack, kind of guarantee yourself a ball. Now, when the top players are playing and they break so good, they know that if they can hit the one ball square, get the cue ball just to stop in the middle of the table, 80% of the time, those balls are going to go on the side, and the one ball is going to dress up all over the corner. So you kind of know where the balls are going to lay, right? So you kind of have an idea of where it's going to sit after the break. You have to be one, hitting it square and hitting it good to get that shot after the break. Two, you know if you hit it where you want to be, the one is going to be up around that corner unless it goes in, and the two and three or might come round and land kind of at the corner. As where when you play 9-ball,
And
you
you're
got the
random
9.
racking the
Yeah,
two.
you've got the
Random
9
racking.
on the spot. You break, you make the 1 on the side, the cue ball comes across, hits the 9, the 2 ball goes 3 rails and comes way up and sits on the top cushion. So you never know where the next ball is going to be. You never know where you might not make the 1. Another ball might go in, and the 1 might come short and go side rail back to the top cushion, and you never have a shot. So you see a lot more play in the game. You see a lot more safeties. You don't just see, I'm not saying there was constant runouts in their matches, but there was a lot.
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot.
There was a lot, but it wasn't like mega packages. It was just enough to, 3s and 4s and 5s and 6. I think, what was it, 7 was the most, Scott?
No, actually, both of them ran 6. We thought
6 was
Federer
it?
ran 7. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously it's there, but with the 9-ball, it's more random, and there's a lot more play in the game. And I think it's more of it's not really down to he's just breaking better. It's nothing to
Which is
do with that.
which is crazy because back in the day when you were first coming over to the States and we had the wood racks, right? We're racking
Yeah,
playing 10 ball.
like
It was
this.
a whole different ball game, right? Like
Feather in those balls.
it was much more difficult to have those patterns after the break, to have the one wired up in the corner. And
Yeah,
so
you couldn't.
that you couldn't do it, right? You couldn't get the balls right,
That's why
right?
Shane was the best at it, man, because
That
he was so good at racking.
yes,
And when you
yes.
broke, you might make 1 ball, but when he broke, he made like 5.
Yeah, and still
And
getting a shot. Right.
yeah, and still getting a shot. And then, like you said, the 1 wouldn't come out like it's supposed to come out. The 1 would just like kind of die off the rack and sit around either the middle, might come up 1 time to the corner, but it would never react the same way as using a magic rack.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So it's changed, and that's something Matchroom's done that's very good, right? Tighter pockets, 9 on the spot, in my opinion, and then randomizing the 2, where it can't be in the same place after rack. It's got to be randomized, and I
of
think
course.
that's the game was broken prior to that, in my opinion.
100% the game was at one point when they went back to that 1 on the spot, I'd had enough. I was done with it, mate. I went to 2 tournaments and I flew like 8 hours, and I was on the plane 2 tournaments in a row I went to. I was on the plane longer than I was in the venue.
Yeah. Yeah. You have no control. You can't defend yourself at
No,
all, period.
you can't, mate. And then also when that was happening, if you look back at it, all the guys that were kind of the older school players, Niels, Darren, Mika, Ralph, all those guys were playing good again.
They know how to rack.
No, it wasn't that. They were using
The
the
wing
magic
ball.
rack, and the wing ball was guaranteed.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they were
yeah,
getting more
guaranteed. Yeah, yeah.
opportunities. Now, when the 9 was on the spot, the break was more difficult. So you had to practice your break more. A lot of people couldn't get it down. So there was more play in the game instead of just tapping the 1, the wing ball goes in, and the 1 goes 3 rails, and you break and run like 4 or 5 games every set.
Which
It's
is
not
what
enjoyable.
we want. You want more playing the game. We never see guys on tour break and run 4, 5, 6. It just
No,
doesn't really happen.
nope.
No.
It's too tough.
It's that, Scott, as well. It's too tough, and then you got to remember a lot of times as well. If let's just say if Shane and Fedor played that last match there, and a referee was racking and they couldn't check the rack,
Yeah, I understand.
right?
Yeah,
So now when you're playing 9-ball, and obviously
but
you're playing
everybody
match.
does that,
No, but I
right?
mean you're playing in matchroom events, and also the equipment's tough. The matches are more tough because the players are getting better because the equipment's got tighter and everybody has to up their game. But then on top of that, you've also got to be sitting there hoping that you get a decent rack as well. You know what I
Neutral
mean?
racker,
Yeah,
neutral racker. So you
you,
are at the mercy there,
yeah,
right?
you've got to be praying sometimes that that the thing about 9-ball as well is once you get 1 bad rack, the referee clocks it. So the next time, if you lose that rack, the next guy that's breaking he's gonna make sure the rack's a little bit more tighter because he knows that most refs know now when the 1's going low that the balls are probably not as tight as they should be. So when they see that, the next rack they're trying harder. So it can affect a player who just broke and didn't win that rack because now the next guy is going to get a better rack because the ref has noticed that the 1's gone low. You get what I'm saying, Scott?
Sure, of course. And that's constantly going to happen.
That's
I mean,
just part of
we
the
see it
game,
over and
though,
over.
and you just got to take it sometimes. But it's tough, man, because when you're playing well and it's out of your hands and you can't control it, it's brutal.
I think that that's always going to be part of it, though, because
Yeah,
the alternative is really is no good, even more so, right? Racking for your own, there's just too many
Yeah.
problems that way
yeah.
as well.
It doesn't look good either. It
No,
doesn't
it's
look
not a
good.
good look.
It imagine on TV racking for each other. What I will say is though, um, I do agree with it. Sometimes, obviously, it doesn't look good on TV for you to like go there and look at the rack. But it would be nice if you could just go look at it and be like, okay, I can't ask for a re-rack, but the one's off slightly, so I'll just break from the other side now. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I've talked about that a lot. Even I'm in that position, right? When I still play some big matches and big tournaments that are on big streams, right? I don't want to go over there and check the rack and look like some type of jazz off, right?
Yeah,
So I just don't do it. But the rack isn't right,
yeah.
right? So you just like what you said. So I think maybe that could be talked about a little bit, maybe, because that if the rack is, you can be at the foot spot of the table and know the rack isn't well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's kind of a problem there because the minute the mindset goes there, then you're most likely not going to hit the balls as good as you could anyway,
You're on
right?
tilt. You're on
You're on
tilt.
tilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get two bad racks and you're like, where's that ref? Where is he? Listen, I've
Uh,
said to him a few times though, I've gone, what's the point in even racking, man? What's the point?
no,
What's the point?
but I've seen everybody, and I feel bad for all the
Yeah,
guys that have to
it's
go
not
through that.
just listen. It's not just me.
No,
It's a
all the
lot of
guys go
people.
through it.
But a lot of
Yeah.
people don't say anything, right? But obviously, I don't give a fuck. So I say whatever I see. One guy, I've looked at him at the PLP, and he's racked me two bad racks. I've looked at him, I've gone, "What's the point in you even being here?" He's like this. Like, um, but I know they're trying to do their job. But what I will say, and I've said it for the last 6 months, I can't believe. Listen, I've watched snooker all my life, right? And when you watch snooker, they have the triangle, right, and then they put the pink and the black, so they never really have to rack the balls. Like a normal referee would in American pool. They have to put the balls in place. They just put them in that rack,
Random.
put them up there,
Right.
and the
Just
black and the
random.
pink
Yeah.
go. Now, when they clean the balls at snooker, they need those gloves because at snooker the balls have to be super clean, right? Because just the way it
Oh
is, they
yeah.
get more,
Yeah, yeah.
they get
Yeah.
more, they get more kicks and stuff. What I will say in pool is those gloves for racking balls, they ain't no good. You need friction on the balls to get them touching. I don't understand why in American pool the referees don't have fingerless gloves.
It's a really good point,
Interesting.
actually.
Yeah.
Have you brought that up
I did. I
to
brought it
Max?
up. I brought it up a while back, and nothing was said. But I can't believe that there's. I would rather. I think they said something about, oh, well, what happens now? All the balls are getting finger marks. I said I'd rather the balls had finger marks on them and the balls were tight than have no finger marks on them and a pair of slidey gloves just sliding over the top and not actually getting the balls frozen. I
It's a
think.
really good point.
I think when you don't have any type of glove on, like a pool glove, or if you run it over a ball, you can feel it slide right off it. When you have a little bit of moisture or the grip of
Right.
your fingers and you
It
get
makes a
them, you
big
can
difference
feel
for
them
sure.
freezing.
Huge difference.
There's a big difference. A lot of people don't know this, but there's a big difference from a ball being touching and frozen. you know? So it
Yeah.
might look, it's touching. Yeah, but it's not actually, you might just be touching it, but it's
Right.
not
It's not
actually frozen
frozen,
to it.
like it's
It
supposed
needs
to
it
be.
needs pressed. And
Yeah.
I will say that now until I stop playing. I don't care what they say. Those gloves are for cleaning balls. When you're racking the balls up, you gotta
It needs
have a
something.
little bit of
Great point.
something. I'm telling you.
Great point. All right, Jay, let's change a little bit here. Let's talk about where the pool is right now. I mean, obviously, you got a Saudi World Championship coming up, right? Obviously, well, I want your opinion because obviously you made the most money back, what, 175? We're just talking about how much you made in 1 year.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there's a
Yeah, way
lot of
back.
a lot of players can now make that in this. How do you feel the sport's progressing the last couple of years?
Well, I feel obviously since the pandemic, there was nothing really going on, was there? In Matchroom kind of kept it going. They had we had the PLP kind of behind the doors, no fans. We had the Moscone with no fans. So at least they were trying to give the players something, and obviously they were still allowed to operate behind closed doors. So that was good, and everybody was at home, was obviously getting to see some sort of pool being played. And then all of a sudden, I feel like it was really starting to make some progress again. And then obviously the whole WPA thing, they kind of come around and was like, okay, we're going to come back in the game and run more tournaments. And I'm like, where have you been?
Where you been? Where you
Yeah,
been for the last 15, 20 years?
where have you been now? All of a sudden, the tournaments are coming around. So then they start having a couple of small tournaments, but then it all starts kind of getting a little bit sticky in situations where it's like, oh, well, if you're part of this, you can't play in that. And if you do this, you'll get banned from this. And then it's like, well, just trying to make a living. You know what I mean? Like, why are you making it hard? It's already hard enough. You're just making it harder. So obviously the players go through all that and kind of have to try and figure out where they stand and how they're going to make money, and if they're going to play in this, or they're going to get banned from that. And so a lot of players start to get, down on themselves and start, figuring out what's right for them and what's wrong. And, even if they're choosing one side, it might look good, but then again, if the other side come back into play, now you're not looking good with them. So it's a tough situation, and I will say I'm one of those guys who, put my neck on the line. I really
You did.
stood
You
up
always
for.
been WT for sure.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, you
always
did
stick
everything.
up for what I believe, mate, and I really do believe that for the players and to have your career expand and have more opportunities to get more sponsors, have more TV time, show people who you are, show the world that you belong in these big events, you can win them, and obviously grow your name on social media or not. Matchrooms, the people who can help you do that, they have the biggest followings, they have all the social medias, they have all the Sky Sports, they have all the big companies. So when they're doing that, a lot of the players see that, and I know from living in the UK and watching all the sports back that Matchroom were always involved in pool, darts, snooker, boxing. They're a massive, massive, massive company. And I always believe that, and I still believe now that they're the right people to take the game to the top. And as you can see over the last few years, with the tournaments they've started to get and the prize money that started to go up, I'll always stick by them, and I always feel like they have the power and the no, I don't say more of the money. It's more of having the right people to have the big events. The resources that they have, and
Agreed,
I
Jay.
feel like they can take the pool to that level. Now, obviously, you've got all this stuff going on with the WP and that, which has held it back,
One
like
thing I'll
massively.
say, yeah, it has held it back. But one thing I'll say in your point right there, which because I've been around, unfortunately, for a long time. I'm about to turn 50 years old, and I've been promised the world many times when I was young. And the first game I started playing was 9 ball, and I could have played it at the highest level. I'm very confident of that. And I've had many promoters come and tell me I'm going to be rich in the next year, and I've watched several of those go down the drain, as you're aware of. What Matchroom has, not to mention their design and the platform is great, but the production, right? Production is really where the value comes in for a guy like you. And you're actually one of my examples when I teach, right? I said, listen, there's guys like Jayson Shaw, Shane Van Boning, Fran, FSR, Feder Gorst, right? These guys, if you can get on the tour and you can win a major event with the production value and the social media team that they have, and they are as good as it gets, they can turn you into a superstar, and that's how you make your money. I don't see these other platforms able to do that, and that's where really Matchroom shines.
100%. Who? If you watch pool when you see it on TV on major channels and it's all over the world, people see it, right? And they see, like, I go through airports and go different places, and like Jayson Shaw, and I'm like, yeah, that's from TV, right? That's from watching
Absolutely.
pool from matchroom events. That's not from playing in an event in a pool room somewhere else. Yeah, it's 100K to the winner, but nobody knows who's in it. There's a YouTube channel that's how do people go and watch that? People are at home watching TV, they're not on YouTube searching for a big tournaments. So that's where Matchroom, like Scott said, come in. They have that ability to turn a player's life
Right
around
there.
and give
Yeah.
them that opportunity to shine and become a superstar in the pool world, or sort of in the sports world.
Nice. I think so too. I think WNT, all those guys, of course. We had Emily Fraser on our first podcast. She did fantastic. Also, I want to say thank you, Jason. You're the first professional player on our podcast, the Boom and Fraser Show. Appreciate you
I
coming
appreciate
on.
that.
But we got to talk a little bit about we were talking to you about you and Fedor a little bit, and there was a little bit of chatter going on with the you and Shane. Can we talk a little bit about that? What was that all about? I mean, the on Facebook there was some comments you made
Well, listen,
on
yeah,
a couple
I've
of
played.
posts. I didn't follow it too much what was going on. But I know, like I said, you always like to stir stuff up. Was there anything to that? What was that all about?
Well,
I saw it too. I saw it
I,
too. I
I
actually
just,
called Jason when I saw
yeah,
it.
I think so. Yeah, they were playing for big money, but their stake horses were betting this money. Now, I know Fedor said that he'd bet 20,000, right, on this match. Now, Fedor lost 20,000 in the last match, so he said. So, in hindsight, he's bet his 20,000 to win his 20,000 back, right? Which is fine.
Yep.
But not why not bet more if you're so confident in winning, right? Why not bet more? So basically, he's won his 20K back, knowing that he's going to get it back, and now he's even. Now, if he wins, he's going to get 40 grand regardless because of the stream. Shane's going to get his 40 grand from the stream anyway.
As they
Shane's
should.
yeah, because they're playing. Shane's stake horse is bet. Shane's going to get a percentage if he wins. Now, I'm not saying he's there trying to lose, because if he wins, he makes more money, right? So that's a big thing. You know that if you win, you're going to get more money. So you're not going there to lose in the first place. But what I'm saying is, if you've got no money invested in the match, and it is your stake horses, I'm not saying you're going to lose the match just because you've not bet anything. But it's easy to just be like, do you know what? It is what it is. He's gonna win. I'm just gonna. It's just gonna be enough's enough. And yeah, my stake horse is gonna lose his money, and I might be a little bit mad. But I know I'm gonna walk out here and I'm gonna be good. In a couple of weeks, I'll be fine. I'll get over it. And again, we might do a third one.
Well, Dave, I love you. I love you, but I'm a listen. I've been staked a lot in the first major part of my career till like 2012. I bet almost, you knew me back then. I
Yeah.
was always betting my own money. Everybody
Yeah.
that knew me back then, I was always betting my own money
Yep.
because it's tougher for me to play on Bobby Hilton's money than it is Scott Frost's money. Tony
Yes.
Bloom knows that.
Yep.
Anybody that's ever staked me knows that. And that's really why I don't play anymore, because it's too hard on me at my age. That being said, I know that deep down that Shane Van Boening hates to fucking lose.
Of
He
course he
hates to
does.
lose.
Hates it. Hates it.
Now, does it make it a little easier for a guy like Shane in 2 weeks when he's catching a lake trout or wherever the heck he's at? It's possible. But to your point with Federer, gotta say, listen, 20,000's 20,000,
Of course
right?
it is.
20,000's 20,000. Whether he's going to lose another 20,000 if he doesn't win, and that's 20,000 off of the stream money he made, which the numbers were way down because of the score line to
Yeah.
begin with.
Of course.
So, you know, I know what you're doing. I know you're winding people up, but it can start to reflect to the players, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is.
And to another point too and this is one of the things. Obviously, the Shark Stream and Jason, you've been in my place a couple times. I've had
Yeah.
you played Earl, you played Moritz. You know what I mean? And I never wondered I'm worried about who's betting what. I want you guys to get fucking paid.
Yeah,
You know what I
you
mean?
did. Yeah,
That's
but
that.
Bobby, that's an exhibition match, though.
Yes,
You
yes.
see what
They're
you know?
These guys are
I,
gambling.
I
Yeah,
know what you're
They're
saying.
really
No, yeah, I see
gambling.
what you're saying.
it's a
Yeah,
different. Listen, I'm not saying they're not gambling. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
Oh, they are.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that it's a
I
fake
know.
match. But you get what I'm at, right, Scott? You get what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying, though. It's easier to be down in the match, right, by 40 games and
That can
sitting there
beat
thinking
anybody.
to yourself, all right, I've not got a dime invested in this fucking match. The guy
Oh,
behind
right.
me, listen, the guy behind me is betting 50. He's bet me all my life. I've won the fucking guy millions over his career, whatever. I've had enough. I'm out of this joint. Fedor's playing too good. Shane's just
What?
on tilt. Fucking got his hat like that half the time. She's fucking hat like that half the time. Fucking, he's like this half the time. Breaking cue balls going fucking two rails across the table. He's fucking on tilt. He's thinking, get me on the lake. I'm out of here. I'm done. I've had enough.
Well, here's what I can say. I mean, he texted me during the match a few times, and I
How have you
better be
not
careful.
told them to move the white?
Well, I'm commentating, so I need to be real careful there, right? Like I'm pretty sure Jason's talking. Jason Sword and I work together. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
Jason's talking to center, and
yeah,
Shane and I were talking as well. But Shane's a hard-headed freaking dummy sometimes. Okay,
yeah.
you and I both know that. I love him. I love him. But where was I going with this? Um, but
text you.
oh, Shane was texting me, and I'm almost positive, and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm pretty sure that Shane doesn't want to taste that again from what he's told me.
From what he said.
Yeah. And that's something you didn't know. It's something really nobody knows. But
Uh,
you know what? I'll just tell you. I mean, I could pull it up right now, but basically, I'll
maybe he
just say
just had that
in a
in his
short
mind.
sentence, he said, "I can't fucking beat this guy." Period. He said, "Nobody
Uh,
fucking beat
so
this guy." I've got
maybe,
it right here in my phone, and that
maybe
was
after day two, he's had it was.
you got a taste of it. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
sitting there. I'm sitting there when Shane's up 12-4, and I'm thinking, okay, we're right on target, right? Shane's going to do what he
Yep,
does, and Federer takes control, and I think Federer wins like 22 out of 25 games.
Yes.
he
And
did.
right then and there, when that happened, the same result after the break every time started happening. I'm watching. Listen, my job is to kind of do this anyway. I'm watching Shane's reactions,
Demeanor,
right?
his
And
demeanor.
I knew it was eating him alive because I could see it. I read him really
Of
well. I could
course.
see him thinking, I can't do that, right? Because Shane's tempo and Shane's break power is completely different. His
Yes.
cue, how it is in the back
Yeah, it's
arm, and
up here and
every
then like that.
it's way, yes, it's way different. And so I knew what was going through his mind. He's thinking, "Well, fuck, I got to try and replicate that, right?" So
Yes,
what
but you
happened? You know
can.
what happens when he tries to
Yeah,
do that? You know what
we
happens?
talked about that.
It
Yeah.
goes straight downhill, right?
Yes.
So now it just a molehill turned into a mountain, right? And I could see it happening. So
Yeah, and
I
then
get
obviously.
your yeah.
And
He could.
obviously, he played amazing on top of that and put even more heat on him. So then again, he's probably thinking double that, thinking, "Oh God, I'm done." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and you and I both know, we all know, Shane doesn't need the money to that
No,
extent, right?
no
He
chance.
he
No,
doesn't.
no
Yeah,
chance.
But
yeah.
Do
those guys,
you know
but those
what's
guys.
funny? I
Go
just
ahead.
seen that as soon as he got beat, I've just like looked on my phone like the next morning and I see Shane's picture saying signed up for the Midwest Open. I'm thinking this guy's mental. This guy's
Well,
absolutely
he
on
does
tilt.
he doesn't go
Boston.
home, but I told him he needs to start playing weekly tournaments because he's not going to Dubai. I said you're a cheap champion now. You just need to start going playing weekly tournaments. He said, yeah, why not? Right? And that's no, but he's going to go to
So,
Iowa because he thinks he's stealing.
so
Um,
he's not going to Dubai.
I think
oh
he's playing.
shit, I don't.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
uh-oh.
yeah.
I'm not
Wow.
going either.
Are you really? That was one of my next
No, I'm
question was
not. I'm
Jay.
not going. I'm not going, mate.
Yeah, he's going to Des Moines.
I have what?
He's going to Iowa, Des Moines,
I thought you
Iowa.
meant I was going to Des Moines. I thought no chance.
No, not you, not you.
Yeah, I am not going anywhere until the 17th of July. I will fly straight to Saudi.
That's my
Oh,
50th birthday.
you heard that here. Beautiful.
I'll fly straight there. But until then, I'm a golfer. I joined a private golf course about 3 weeks ago. And Bobby, you probably know it. It's called Oronoque. It's just
heard of it.
over exit 53. It's now called Black Hawk Country Club. I joined that, and yeah, that's all I've been doing every day. I've been going there for like 5 hours in the morning, 7 to 12, hitting about 1,000 balls, chipping, putting, doing all that. And then at night time around like 3:30, I've been going back and I've been playing like 27 holes every single day.
Wow.
I've spent like, I went and got fitted for new clubs, new drivers, new putters, everything. I've been really on it, and I can see since I've been doing it, man, I've lost about 7 strokes off my game because the course is real tight. It's like voted the 50th toughest course in I think it's like the Northeast or something like that. Something like that. I can't remember what this is, but it was in the Golf Digest top 50th hardest courses. So yeah, I'm just doing that. I
You
went
lost more
start
weight, Jay. You lost
yeah,
more weight, and
I
and
lost.
also
He looks
when I'm talking
great.
about your work, when I'm talking about his work ethic, he believes, and a lot of top pool players are like this. He believes that golfing every day falls hand in hand with his pool game, right? You believe that, right, Jay?
Yeah, mate, 100%. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. Everybody at the golf course says to me when, man, your hand-eye coordinations, and I'm like, yeah, it's just like same as pool, basically, like sticking
Keeps you in a
balls.
good mind.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
keeps me a good mind. You're clear-minded. But yeah, I have. It's funny, Scott. I kind of was. What date are we on now? Is it 17th,
Yeah.
18th? 17th, yeah. So I started on my little diet on the 10th. It's been 7 days. I was 191. I weighed myself this morning. I'm 181. I
It's
lost
impressive.
10 pounds.
Pound a day.
I've been fasting a lot. I've been playing golf. Like I said, I've been playing golf every morning. Just kind of trying to do a lot more things. Like I stopped drinking altogether. I quit drinking. It's been last time I had a drink was at Moscone Cup. I quit drinking altogether. I'm done with
I
that.
got
I
some
won't drink.
videos of that night if you want me to send them to you.
Well, whatever. Listen, I'll tell you what.
That was
Whatever
a
we
fun
That was
have.
a
night.
bad
It
night.
was a good.
It was
You
a
It was,
bad.
ready?
It
it was
was
a
a
fun
bad
time. No,
night.
we had
It was
a
a
bad
bad
night.
You
night
ready
Yeah,
for
for
this?
for
yeah,
Jayson.
yeah.
I was at that after party for 2 hours and I only had 4 drinks and
He was sick for two
I
days.
I
Yeah.
was in my bed at 10 o'clock and I can't remember leaving the place. And secondly, I missed 2 flights the next day and then I was ill for 4 days. Whoever
That's
motherfucker was that fucking put something in my
yeah.
drink,
That's not normal. Yeah, that's not
don't
normal.
worry about that. I'll find out one day and don't you worry. I've never felt like that in my life, man. I felt like I was on something was in me that wasn't supposed to be, man. I was rattling for 4 days like I've never been rattling in my life. I felt like I was on something that was, I was on another fuck. I couldn't stop shaking 4 days. I
Yeah.
missed 2 flights and I only had 4 drinks that night. 4 drinks and I had, those seltzers with vodka.
Yep.
I had 4 of them, and then I woke up in the morning and I was like, "What the fuck happened last night?" And Ara was like, "Oh, you were back at 10 o'clock," and I'm like, "The
Yeah.
party started at 8. I was
Yeah.
back at 10. I was like, what time did I actually come back? Like 6 in the morning?" She was like, "No, you couldn't even stand up." She said you were fine, and then you just went like this. She said
At
your legs
That's
weren't
7:30.
true.
working.
That's true.
She
That's
said
true.
your
Seven
legs
thirty,
weren't
you and I were
working.
eating dinner. 7:30, we were eating dinner. By
Yeah.
10 o'clock, you were having,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of like lost.
She
Don't know what
said,
happened.
she said, I went, my sister was there. My sister said, "Jay, I was standing talking to you." She said, and then all of a sudden, she said, "You couldn't even take 2 steps." She said, she said, "I don't know what happened." She said, "We took you back to the apartment. You were shouting you wanted to get in the shower. You've got in the shower with all your clothes on. And then you're on the floor naked saying, 'Somebody come cuddle me.'" And I'm like, they're at it. I'm like, "You're lying to me." I'm like, "What time did we come back?" And she's like, "No, I'm being serious." But I was so bad that I missed 2 flights the next day, Bobby. 2.
Nuts. That's nuts. That's nuts. And I know
That's
you.
not
I
me.
mean, I partied you a couple times. You can handle it. You know what I mean?
Listen,
You're not
every
missing a flight the
Moscone
next
Cup,
day. You know?
every single Moscone Cup, I'm a 2 day drinker. I drink for 2 days after
Yeah,
the Moscone
yeah, for
Cup.
sure.
So whatever happened that night, or whatever the motherfucker done to me, or someone did to me, they got me good. Trust me. So I like to, when I'm drinking, I know what's going on. Even though I've got a good drink in me, I still know what's going on around me. But
Yeah,
I will never ever put myself in that situation again because I like to know what's going on around me. Because if something's gonna happen, I want to fucking make sure I know what's gonna happen.
for sure.
Well, I
And
mean,
if I
that's the
can,
problem nowadays, right? Is this
yeah, if I,
happens a lot.
brutal
This seems
mate.
to happen a lot. Yeah.
If I can't control or I don't know what's going on, then I'm not drinking, mate. I don't need it, right? And
No.
for two, I don't need alcohol to have a good time. I can have a good time anyway.
There you
Always a good time, Jason.
Yeah, mate.
Always a
It's
good
just
time, man.
just a strange one, mate. That was something that
Yeah.
do you know what's weird about it though? Somebody told me what they were going to put in my drink. I'd probably be all right, which is mad.
go. But when you don't know, it's different.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a
I
bad
do.
one, mate. It
I
was a bad
remember.
one.
I remember. I do remember at the end, like, yeah, you were gone. And all of a sudden, like, what happened? Yeah, it was crazy.
And my sister was like, she said, I couldn't even hold you up. She said, your legs wouldn't work. And I'm like, what the
Well,
fuck? I'm like, no, I've only
there
had a
was
few
more.
drinks.
Yeah, there was a little more than that. He actually got into it with a couple of people, but or one person, but it was not you for sure.
No, no
But
chance, mate. I've
no,
never been like
no,
that in my life. Even when
No,
I've been younger and I was out partying and I had maybe did something that I wasn't supposed to do,
right,
being underage and being stupid.
right.
yeah.
I was never ever like in a bad way from doing something I should never have done. But that night was wild, mate, and I just never want to feel
And I
like
should
that
have.
ever
That's such a
again.
shame too, because it should have been such a good night. You know, you being captain of Moscone, you
Of
just won
course.
it. You played freaking amazing. Everything you did with the crowd, that's a shame. I really wasn't trying to go that way with that. I
No,
was
but
just,
Bobby, to be
but
honest with you, I had already spoke to the guys in the practice room and I had told them, look, guys, obviously I like to stay, get drunk and do whatever, but this time I've actually booked my flight for 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'm just gonna have a couple and go home, and I don't want to, be on a fucking bender for 2 days basically.
right,
So I booked my flight for 7 o'clock that following morning. And when we came out, we went and ate food with Scott and Carl downstairs, and my dad and my sisters and that were there. And then we went upstairs, and I said to them, Emily came to the bar, and Emily bought a bucket of the Happy Dads, the seltzer
yes, yep,
vodka. And
yep,
I gave one to Catchy, I gave one to David, and I drank the other four that was in there. And like I said, I was only there 2 hours, and
yeah.
Yeah, so
to
you had two an hour, which is one
yeah,
every
like
half
two
hour.
an
That's
Nothing.
about
hour.
Like I
normal.
said, that's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, that's
And
nothing.
I said to Ara, listen, I'm not going to get drunk tonight. I'm just going to have a couple because I
You're
want to
leaving in the
leave and
morning.
go
Yeah,
home and
for
go back
sure.
home and get the kids and that. And she was like, okay, that's good. You're not going to get drunk. And then boom, I fucking
Yeah,
can't remember a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. That's
Not one
rough.
thing. I can't remember. All I can remember was standing at the bar. I went to the toilet. I walked past Scott and Carl boys, spoke to them, and they asked me what was going on over at the bar, and I told them I was having a little, not argument, but more of a like, kind of just trying to prove my point to someone. And then when I went back, finished my drink, and boom, I was gone.
All right, let's not talk about that no more. That over and under. But
Strange.
let's talk about Moscone 25. What do you got? Anything to let us know? Who's captain for Team Europe? Do we
I,
know yet? What's going
I
on
don't know.
there?
I would think it's me and Sky again. I would think so. I
I
can't
would
see
think
them
so.
changing it,
Yeah,
especially being in Europe. I can't see them changing it. But again, you never know. But I'm sure, I'm sure they would have kind of said something.
Yeah. It would be you guys.
Yeah,
I
but
would
I think they
imagine.
would say something. I can't see Skylar not getting another crack at it. I can't see him not getting. He has to. You can't just do 1 year and then that's it. Everybody always gets a second crack at it.
yeah.
Two or
And as
three
far,
cracks, right?
Yeah,
Two
two
or
or
three.
three, just
yeah,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
what happens, really, right? Two,
Sure.
sometimes it's two, depending on who you are. Three, if you're really good at it and it's not really been a major flop. It's just kind of a couple of small things that happen.
So let's talk about that. So obviously you're paying attention to the standings. Your team will look totally different. Obviously, you still have the World coming up and a lot of big tournaments coming up. Have you even sprinkled or thought about it at all or looked at it?
Nah, it
Not
doesn't matter.
even.
It doesn't matter, man. To be honest with you, me, it doesn't really matter as long as I can get those guys about 7, 8, 9 days before. We're good. We're good. All I need to do is get a hold of them, man, and get them in the room with a
Together.
couple of
Yeah.
tables, and we're good to go. Listen, obviously, last year we had Mickey. Great player, great guy as well. Real quiet, doesn't really just does his thing, and it was his first time, and it was really, really tough for me. It was tough. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of
Yeah.
stress leading up to that. Just because he was new, he was really understanding a lot of things that had to happen leading up to it. So I had to really keep getting at him or keep going to Emily and trying to make sure that he was going to be part of it. And eventually it came across in the way it should have, and he understood it. So when that happened, I was more relaxed. But leading 2 weeks before it, man, I was not on tilt, but I was so stressed out because I had all the other guys all set, ready to go. And with him, he was obviously still new and didn't really know what had to go on. So he was still trying to kind of do his own thing
Like,
and kind of be a little part of the team as well, but still he wanted to play the International Open, and then he wanted to stay and play in the straight pool. And what else was on? Was it straight pool and something else? Oh, it was just a straight pool.
yeah, it
He
was
wanted
straight
to
ball.
stay and play in that, and I says, look, we can't go there, five of us, and you stay here on your own. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. We have to be together. And then when he came with us and it was all done and we practiced, and he says, I'm glad I came. So
Remember,
stuff like that really needs to be put in place, and we really need to have a schedule put together and how we're going to get together, set up as a team, be together for that 8, 9 days before it, so we're gelled as a team and not just showing up and thinking we're just going to rock in there and everything's going to be okay. So I'm sure whoever makes the team this year, it'll be the same plan, even if it's one rookie or it's two rookie. Obviously, the ideal scenario is one rookie, right? Two's a bit of a nightmare, but again, I said to someone yesterday, the guys that are going to get in, they're obviously playing good. It's not like they're not going to be playing
right,
well.
they're not walking
They're
in
there
for
for a
sure.
reason, right? So it's all about getting them early, showing them the ropes, teaching them a little bit of things, how the table's going to react, putting them in situations where it's going to be out there, and putting pressure on them in the practice and stuff like that, and really, making them work.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping they make the announcement soon because we'd like to harass you guys, the two captains, to see who you're going to pick. Obviously, throughout the year, we're going to be doing that till the end of the year, but we're looking forward to that. And I just want to say thank you again for coming on. I mean, you're very special to me, and I know Scott appreciates too. I mean, this is our third podcast, and we wanted to have somebody as big as you to come on, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, mate. I haven't really been. I kind of there's times when I like to go online and I like to do things and just kind of just wind people up, and people don't take it too serious sometimes, and people do, and people know me by now that I like a little bit of a wind up, but I feel like since the Moscone, we've had a couple of tournaments, but there's nothing really been. We've had two major events since January. So to be
Been a little
honest with you,
quiet. Been a little quiet, right?
yeah, it's been quiet. So to be honest with you, I haven't really been thinking about pool too much. I've kind of just been doing my own thing, just playing golf, staying at home, chilling with the kids, doing other things, setting other stuff up. Making money on the side and just doing my things. I know that these next 4 months is going to be really, really big. So
Busy.
I'm just trying to enjoy myself now and just stay relaxed and not use too much energy. I like I said to you, I've had my table behind me. I haven't hit a ball since I came back from the UK Open. Not one ball.
But once you decide to, that switch will go off, and I know how
M-
you are. You won't
Yeah,
stop.
my goal is to play golf until the end of this month, and then by the end of the month, I'm gonna have lost like 20 pounds, gained a little bit more muscle, feeling more fresh. And then at the start of the month, I'll play for almost like 16, 17 days straight, hard practice, and throw a little bit of golf in now between that, and just try and get myself ready for the big events. Like I said before, I've been playing really well. I've been getting to the last 16 the quarters, and I've been putting myself, and I feel like my game's there now. Not that it hasn't been, but I feel like something's clicked in me where I'm starting to play freely again and not really worry about a lot of things that I had in my mind before, what everything that was going on between, the match room and the WP. I was getting a little bit too involved in it, and I think it was kind of, how can I say it? Not throwing me off, but taking me away from what I should be doing there. And I was getting more involved in things that,
Noise, the outside noise that shouldn't be in
yeah,
there when you're playing
probably,
pool.
probably, not focusing as much on myself and trying to make sure everything else is going to be good. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I understand.
So yeah,
you
like I said,
definitely, you've definitely been flowing a lot more like yourself the last 5, 6 months, and you've had a chance to literally, I mean, the last 5, 6 events,
yeah,
you've had a
yeah,
chance to literally win at every event. Like
yeah,
I've
of course, and
witnessed it.
I can feel my games there, and I think a lot of people can see I'm starting to play well again also.
Yeah,
But I know how pool is. It's a funny game. Can be playing real well and things are just not running for you. But I know I've been through this so many times in the last 10 years that I've had my ups, my downs, and in the middle, shit's not going right, and it just the balls are running funny, and you feel your game's there, but you're getting no rewards for it. But I know I said it in
it's
my
coming.
last interview. I've said it before that too. I might not win the next tournament. It might not be the next one after that, but I can guarantee you one thing's for sure. I'm gonna win a big tournament very soon. I can just feel it, mate. I just know that it's been close and I've been in that kind of good spot and playing well enough to win. It's all about just getting a
It's
couple of little things going for you at the right times.
good stuff, Jay. Really good. We've been here. This is the longest podcast I think we've had, and I think we could do another 2 hours. We've been here 30 minutes. I'm
Yeah.
serious. It's
No,
been
you've
as
been
good as it
awesome. It's been
gets.
awesome. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
really appreciate you coming on. I wanted to ask you one question. It's got nothing to even do with you, but I just want to ask because I think everybody kind of wants to know. I want your opinion. The first thing that comes to your mind, can Josh Filler beat Fedor Gorst playing 10 ball? Yes or no? Just a yes or no? You
Yes,
think he can beat him? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
If they played nine ball, I'm picking filler all day just because he's going to go on a mad one and just fucking run racks repeatedly. 10 ball is a little different. His break is good, but it's not like he doesn't have that sweeping like loop pot bridge. He breaks with open bridge. He breaks with, but breaking with an open bridge sometimes you can get a little bit of control out of it. You know what I mean? It's like playing a normal shot. But if you're playing 10 ball and what's just happened, you gotta say Fedor just as far as the break. But when the balls are open, it's 50-50, man. It really is.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that break's working for Josh, then he can hammer Fedor. If Fedor's breaks on and Josh is off, then Fedor. It's all on the day, man. You know that, Scott. You've been in these big matches. You might be playing your best. Sometimes at one pocket, you know the same. There's days where you break real good, and then there's other days where you might
Yeah. Yeah.
leave a
Absolutely.
shot or a
Anything.
shot here and there. It's one of those ones, but it's with these guys, it's 50-50. No matter who plays, it's all 50-50 if you ask me. They're all good enough in the moment to run big packages and put players in their seats for a long time. So I will say with the break, Fedor's more favourite, but when the balls are wide open, it's 50-50.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jason. We really
Yeah,
appreciate you
thanks,
coming on
Bobby.
again. Thanks again. I'm sure we'll see you soon. Looking forward to see you in Saudi. Maybe holding a world championship trophy like you're talking about.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'll take you all out for dinner if I win that one.
All
You got
right.
it. You got it.
See you
All right,
later,
Jay.
guys.
Thanks a lot, buddy. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Scott.
you, man.
See you
Thanks,
later.
Jay.